What's up?
Tax collector. Not really. It's us, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? Welcome back to yet another episode of Renegades Ramble. This is episode 5. Classic consoles aplenty. The reason for that title is the NES and SNES classics that Nintendo has put out. They said that they are going to be discontinued after this whole thing, and yeah, that's a whole ordeal. But we'll talk about that more and later. But for right now, I want to introduce everyone who is here. Of course, we will start on this end. Roan, that's right, Roan Daddy, the big bad Roan Bone Daddy. Then we have here in his traditional garb, the tribal garb of his people, with the Mega Man bonnet, and
you're really keeping me from wearing all my blue sweaters because you keep wearing blue sweaters, it's gonna look dumb.
Hey, at least we're all wearing blue. He has to be the only one to make it. He's the only one not wearing blue jeans. I mean, that's the thing.
There you go. Just point that out to everybody.
You're not American.
Yeah, you ain't American enough for me on here. And of course, you know me. I'm Nate. And sitting over here, we have the newest edition on here. Care to introduce yourself, good sir?
Hey, what's up? I'm Keith.
Yeah.
How's it going?
So Keith is a self-proclaimed video game nerd. I mean, he's very proficient in knowing. Actually, Jacob was telling me earlier that you named every single Game Boy from its inception all the way until its end, and you gave every single version of it in order from by chronological order.
Yeah, he did it on top of his head too.
It's
just like
it's not that much to remember. I mean, it's only really 5, 6, 7 models.
Because I know there's the Game Boy Pocket, the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Advance SP, and that's all the ones I remember. Which ones am I forgetting?
Well, you had the Game Boy Micro. In the Advance line.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Dang it.
And then you had the Game Boy Light, which is Japan only.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was actually Gunpei Yokoi. I believe that was one of his last things he did before he died. He was the original creator of the Game Boy.
Yes.
Yeah. I have little snippets in there.
I think I owned a Game Boy.
He was their toy maker for the longest time.
Well, he went on to create the Wonder Swan after that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and he was a genius inventor. I mean, changed handheld gaming forever because at the time when the Game Boy was coming out, Lynx had their gameplay, had their machine which ate through like 6 batteries, and it would only stay powered on for like an hour. And then, of course, miraculously I was able to get my hands on a Game Gear that my cousin was giving away for like $50, and he had Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2, and he had Mortal Kombat on there, and actually made myself a challenge that I would do every fatality that was available. They had to cut back on some of the fatalities, but they still had a good amount of them on there. But I went through a 20-pack of batteries in one trip. In one trip.
On the Game Gear?
Yeah, on the Game Gear.
Yeah.
Whereas 2 batteries.
They say Game Boy's battery life wasn't very good, but it was still better than everybody else's.
Yeah, because you could play a Game Boy straight for like 8 to 10 hours, and not.
I remember playing it
on
all
2
day.
batteries.
Yeah.
On 2 batteries, and just take them out,
it's kind
reload,
of funny,
boom.
Remember sitting in the back seat playing your Game Boy, and where it wasn't lit, you were kind of relying on the street lights as they're going by.
Yeah, I remember that.
Trying to angle the screen right so you could see it.
And then they had that Game Boy Light that you plugged in the side, and at first I was just like, this doesn't do anything, and then I actually bent it just at the right angle. I bent it back a little bit, and I tilted the light down just right, and I was just like, oh, there, I got it. It's doing good now.
Yeah.
I was just like, yes.
Sit next to a lamp, but instead of reading a book, you're over here, playing some Pokemon.
Yeah.
Or at that time, it was Tetris mostly. I played mostly Tetris, and I played Donkey Kong a lot too.
Just back before lit screens and stuff. Or?
Yeah, back before backlit screens. Yeah, that was just the dot matrix. Right. Yeah, the matrix background that they had. The predominant color they had was green, and that's it.
It's like somebody pull out an Alien movie.
There was no color. There's no light on there. Yeah,
The only light there was the battery light.
It's a monochrome display.
Yeah. That was it. That was all they had. As you notice, we have all these classic Nintendo consoles up here. Earthbound stream? Potentially. Maybe. I mean, Earthbound's a fun game.
So, speaking of like Earthbound and JRPGs, I just kind of want to ask the question, who would actually like to see us play some old school JRPGs and actually voice act all of the written dialogue? I think it would be awesome. I think it'd be a great idea.
I have to find my strange voice.
I mean, just, yeah.
Can I be a professor?
I just can't wait to see Nathan do a female character right off there. It's like, oh, hey, Maxim, please don't go.
It's like, noble adventurer, please come back. Our village needs your assistance.
But the town is defenseless without me. The monsters are attacking. I've got to go, Tia.
Like, no, please don't go.
I have to. I don't know what else to do.
And there you go.
Yeah, we can sit there. I can do that through the whole game. And we'll like get 3 or 4 people and pick different roles too. Like, because whoever the protagonist is going to be constantly talking.
Yeah.
People can voice the bad guys. Some people can voice. Well, actually, no. You got more. You get up to 4 protagonists throughout the whole game. 4 main characters that you play with, and you get them pretty early on in that game too. It's very much like Final Fantasy 2 and 4 was.
Yeah, and gosh, Final Fantasy that whole rigmarole. I remember the first Final Fantasy game I ever played. It was Final Fantasy 7. My friend brought it over, and I was just like, holy crap, this game is just like crazy with all the stuff that, because it's just like, it's just a small like turn-based adventure that takes place in this one town. Okay, nope. Then the whole world opens up. You're just like, what? And yeah, and it's like,
this is the first deep game I ever played.
When did the original come out?
Final Fantasy?
Yeah, because they just did a remake or something for it, right?
Well, no, God, there's been tons of remakes.
The first Final Fantasy game came out, I believe, 1992, 91, 92.
Oh,
no.
Okay, shit.
Or even earlier.
I think it might have been maybe 80.
I think maybe like
89.
Because I know that there's a.
Let's play the fact.
Final Fantasy recycling an unnecessary number of sequels.
Oh wait, no. The first Final Fantasy was released December 18th, 1987.
Nice.
Damn.
Not too long after Mario.
Yeah. So
not too long after the NES period.
The problem with the thing about the Final Fantasy series is that it's an anthology series. Is that it's a different set of protagonists, a different adventure, everything different. It's just different fantasy elements. But you know, one thing that has remained constantly the same throughout every single game, like literally almost every single one of the games.
Sid.
No, well, Sid. That's one thing, but the composer.
Nobuo
Uematsu, yes. And counting the classic themes that man has come up with just from that series, not counting everything else that he's done, it's just like, wow. Because of course you hear Genova, you hear One Winged Angel, you hear Force Your Way, you hear the themes.
And the thing is, they were able to communicate those scores within an 8-bit device.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing.
Quality output signal at all. I mean, you're limited to how many notes that you have. And it's beautiful. I listen to SNES and NES soundtracks all the time. Just I don't know.
Yeah, the chiptune. Yeah, the chiptune. Chiptune classics.
I'm a big Mega Man fan, so music is one of the biggest things about Mega Man is the soundtrack. Be amazed at how many stages, if you just kind of let the music flow your movements, you can just smooth through the levels. There's time to go with the pace of the music.
It's like Super Mario Brothers. It's like whenever someone starts up Super Mario Brothers, it's the da 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 da, and it's just like feels like home. It feels like it was meant to be. It's like I'm supposed to be sitting here playing this game for like 20 hours straight.
Sarah Williamson's asking why you're dressed like Mega Man.
Because I love Mega Man, and Mega Man is awesome. That is.
I thought that'd be obvious. I mean, he's dressed up like Mega Man because he ironically hates Mega Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the biggest Mega Man hater on planet Earth. Mega Man 11, he spat at the ground when he heard it was coming out. And also the Mega Man Legends series, hates it. Absolutely hate. Okay, I'm gonna kill this now before he kills me. I'm gonna kill that joke before he kills me. So yeah.
Mega Man Legends 2 poster hanging in my wall.
So yeah, and also the copy of Mega Man Legends 3 you have up there.
Yeah.
Which
my copy that not even sure that exists, but there's rumors there might be a playable demo somewhere in existence. You know, it's out there.
Yes, it's like
the conspiracy.
This is not the demo you're looking for.
Well, I am thoroughly confused.
Don't be.
You guys just keep talking about all kinds of consoles and shit.
Well, okay, Ron, what was your first console that you ever got?
PlayStation 1, and again, like I said, I think I played, I think it was called Final Doom. So I didn't even play
Final Doom on PlayStation was pretty good. It was okay. It played a lot better with it. I'd say it would play a lot better with a joystick than just the directional pads.
Yeah. I will say, growing up, the kid and everything, I always had to wait like a year or two to get like whatever the newest generation console was.
Yeah, same here.
Which in one way sucked as far as like all my friends or whatever were talking about like this kick-ass game that I couldn't play. But
same here.
But at the same time, by the time I got the game, they'd gotten all the fucking bugs and shit out of it. So
well, yeah, and
kind of a plus.
Well, that is good. And me, I like the PlayStation. I remember the first thing that I played on PlayStation. It was actually at my cousin's house, and I got a demo disc from Pizza Hut. You remember? Did you ever go to Pizza Hut and get one of the demo discs that they had?
From Pizza Hut?
Yeah. It was a PlayStation demo disc.
I don't remember
that you got. Well,
maybe I did.
Well, yeah, they actually had like 4 of them. And they came out over the span of like 1997 to 1998. And on there was like demos for Crash Bandicoot, like the Crash Bandicoot games, Ape Escape. There was one for a Star Wars fighting game.
Were they like the little tiny discs?
No. They were full discs. They had like full demos and everything. And you got them for free if you got like a large stuffed crust pizza. You get a large stuffed crust pizza, and they're just like, here's a free demo disc. And I couldn't play it because I didn't have a PlayStation.
That was before we had the technology to have stuffed crust pizza.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, I remember I actually, like, begged my cousin, like, can we play this on here, please? I want to see what's on here. And then there was a game, like, I think it was Ape Escape that was on there.
No.
Uh-oh. Oh, gosh. Which world is that?
Who guesses it first?
See, I don't do that.
Duck Hunt?
Oh, God.
That's Duck Hunt.
Dang it.
That kind of music doesn't interest.
I remember that because I've heard that so many times in my life. But I can't remember that because I never played Duck Hunt as a kid.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I was never able to. But I lost my train of thought there. You derailed my train of thought.
That was the point.
Damn it. Oh yeah, I begged him to let me play the demo disc, and on there, he didn't know that there was a demo for Ape Escape on there. He never played Ape Escape, and he was like, oh, I want to play this. And we played Ape Escape, and you could play like the first 2 levels before the demo ended, and he was just like, I want to get that game now. But me, I saved up all my money from like a birthday and about 2 months worth of like what little allowance I was given to get a N64, and free with the N64 came Super Mario 64, and I played the shit out of it.
Oh yeah.
But then my cousin got in trouble, and his mom was going to sell his PlayStation because of how bad in trouble he got. Oh, wow. I forget exactly what he did, but it was really bad, and they were selling his PlayStation, and my mom and I was just like, Mom, my aunt's she's selling the PlayStation. Can we get it? Like if I do all this stuff for you, Mom, can you please get this for me? And Mom was just like, I'll see how much it's for, and if it's low enough, I'll get it. And after you do all this stuff around the house, then we'll talk. And I'm like, okay. So my mom finds out how much it is, and then it's just like, okay. She's like, okay, if you do all this, I'll get it for you. And I'm like, okay. It took like a week's worth of like me working like working after I got home from school, got all this stuff done around the house. Like I had to go under the house. I had to pull out all the stuff from under the house, go through it with her, and then take it down and put it in the back of Dad's truck that we were going to throw away and everything.
Sounds like you had good parents. Still a lot of hard work into you.
They did. They did.
And most people just give them Xboxes, birthday and Christmas. Oh,
well, we couldn't afford it. We couldn't afford it because
that was me.
My mom.
A couple years after they came out.
Like if I could help my mom save her time to where she wouldn't have, or she could actually get other stuff done, then she'd gladly reward me with stuff. And that was what I was. That's what I was given. That was instilled in me from when I was young, and I remember when I got the PlayStation, I was like so happy, and I got all his games that came with it. He had like 10 games that I'd never played before, and the one that I played most of all was Twisted Metal 2.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Twisted Metal 2 was the shit.
That was one of the few games that back when I was a kid, I was able to get my dad to play that. He fucking played through every character. We sat down and just went through it.
Who's your favorite to play as?
Me, I loved Axel.
Axel, that was my cousin's favorite.
I was a Spectre player. I played Spectre all the time.
Spectre was good.
Just is so fast. I mean, super fast, and the special was just homing missile.
Yeah.
And then R1, R1, L1, 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 L1 is a cheat code for infinite special.
You cheat.
But hey, that game is still insanely hard, even with the cheats.
It is, and that's the challenge. That's the challenge of it. And me, I would say probably my I'd probably say my favorite one to play as the classic. Everyone says Sweet Tooth, but I also went for I forget the one that actually had the bulldozer. He could actually like grab on, pick you up, and slam you. I forget it. I forget his name.
Yeah. I
can't remember.
It's been a while. So.
Yeah, then there was I think General Warthog was another one.
Warthog.
Yeah.
Minion.
I didn't get to play as Minion until I.
Yeah, you had to beat all the characters,
him.
right?
Most games you had to unlock him.
Yeah, I didn't get to play as Minion up until like my cousin told me how to unlock him. I'm just like, really? You can play as Minion?
Oh yeah, it was. I was most familiar with Twisted Metal 3 due to the Rob Zombie soundtrack.
Yeah,
it was just awesome.
That was definitely a weird.
He also did 4 as well.
I just remember when
4
was very hard.
4 was very hard.
I just remember when I sat down and watched my dad play, like every time you get to that final level, I think it's you're in Hong Kong or whatever.
Yeah,
you fight Dark Tooth.
Dark Tooth. They changed it later to Dark Side because
Dark Side. That's right. But like. He couldn't drive into the little subway train, subway tunnel, and so we just like hole in there because that dude sucked.
Well, of course he'd bull charge you and knock half your health out.
He'd ram you and
So we just like hide up in the tunnel and just wait for him.
I've showed you my Sweet Tooth tattoo before.
Yes. Yeah. I love that.
Epic ink tattoo in Bristol and.
Yeah,
did awesome.
And then there's also the Mario Knuckles.
Yeah, I got a whole video game half sleeve right here, but I'm most proud of my Sweet Tooth. That was a lot of detail into that one.
I remember in Twisted Metal 4, Sweet Tooth took over Calypso, who was the main villain in the first 3 games, and then. Did you all ever play Twisted Metal Black on PlayStation 2?
I did.
That was good.
That's probably my favorite out of
that.
That
was
the best
definitely
darker out of all of them.
Oh yeah,
but I think some of the gameplay was a little the level design in most of them were kind of lame.
Well, the problem was the limitations that the team were given on when the game had to be out. Yeah. So they focused very hard on the storytelling aspect and not as much as the gameplay elements, because certain gameplay elements were really cool. Like the multi-tiered levels and stuff like that, where you could actually like get up to like certain parts by boosting in the right area, like getting the nitrous where you go up. And also I loved the cinematics. I loved the storylines. Like the preacher one was probably one of my favorite ones, where he
one.
Where it was just like, it wasn't an exorcism, it was a baptism, and I did all these terrible things, and Calypso made me realize it. I knew what I had to do. And then he jumps off the top of a building and you just hear a car screech to a halt and crash, and it's just like, and it goes to like the title card, and I'm just like, dark.
That was
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Black definitely went. I mean, The Twisted Metal 2, 3, especially 3 and 4 were kind of Looney Tunes, sort of, in tone and everything.
For PSP,
but Twisted Metal Black definitely went super dark.
Well, also the music for Twisted Metal Black scared the shit out of me because that main theme. Oh yeah, the main theme on Twisted Metal Black was just like this drum. It sounded like something that Trent Reznor would come up with and would be like from a nightmare of his.
Well, they had Rolling Stones Painted Black in
that was the theme tune, but
that's what I remember.
But I'm talking like the main menu theme, like when you're going through and selecting the different.
I remember what
it was like dum 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 do 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 do. It was like really creepy, and I love it now. But as a kid, I was just like, ugh.
What did you think about the last Twisted Metal they did for PlayStation 3?
I thought it was ambitious, but it didn't have enough to sustain it.
Yeah, I didn't. That's the thing I kind of fell out of.
Because I played through it and I was like, damn, this game is really good.
Yeah, the mechanics were really well done.
I beat with Sweet Tooth first, obviously, because that's how they make you play. And then I went to Motorcycle Man. What's his name?
Grim.
And then went to Dollface, and then that was it.
Yeah.
There was no cinematic. There was nothing to increase the story for any of the other characters. I was like, did they quit? Is this going to be DLC? Is it going to update? No.
Well,
that was it.
They didn't have any
basically
stories.
an incomplete game, and I was like, oh man. But I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it.
I did
too.
That was the funny thing in Twisted Metal 2, where when you beat the game, whatever, every character gets like. It's like the where you ask a genie for wishes, but they kind of do like the little trick thing.
It's always a be careful what you wish for thing.
Yeah, so Calypso.
Like the pair or whatever, like the two dudes or whatever, the dude bras. It's like I don't remember their names, the character names, but like where like we want to fly, and he's like, okay, you can fly, and he has like 2 plane tickets, but they end up jumping off the building. I forget who characters that was.
I remembered Spectres. It was, I want the entire face to see my world. All right, and Calypso takes his face and literally stretches it around the world.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, whoa. And then there was another one. It was from the law character, the one in the police car.
Yeah.
I remember in the first game, her brother competed in it, and like he got sent to space for his troubles, and the sister made pretty much the exact same mistake in the second game, and she gets sent there too, and she's just like, it's like, I want to see my brother, and Calypso's like, very well, you shall see your brother, and she's like, wait, no, snaps his fingers, and she's up in space in her car, and she's just like, God dang it, and then he floats by like a satellite that he's overtaken and made a living quarters and everything. It's like, don't worry, sis, we'll get back there, and we'll get Calypso, and I'm like, okay, there you go. And
not question the logic in any of that.
Nope. It's like, how are they surviving in the vacuum of space without a spacesuit? I don't know. Nothing makes sense anymore.
That was awesome, man. That sounded just like Wreck-It Ralph.
King Candy.
Some candy.
It's like, hello there, have some candy.
That's awesome.
Alan Tudyk is a man of many talents. I'm very jealous of him, and he also makes it a point to always mention, I went to Juilliard. Has he graduated Juilliard? So I didn't know he was American, and because the first one I remember seeing him in was A Knight's Tale.
Yeah.
With Heath Ledger.
I wasn't familiar with him at the time, so
okay, I remember that now.
Yeah.
So Keith, you seen the new Wreck-It Ralph, right?
Yeah.
How about you? You seen it yet?
I have not.
I have not yet either. So.
Damn.
So what's your good, bad?
I thought it was pretty good.
Well, if anything, they're doing everything right in a sequel. They're expanding the world. They're taking the characters in new situations. They're not recycling the same old crap that sequels commonly do. Okay, what is a sequel to you that, if not was as good as the original, but in some cases was better than the original?
Dark Knight, obviously.
Dark Knight, yeah, that's one.
Terminator 2.
Terminator 2, that's another one. Stepped up everything.
Aliens for me.
Aliens, that's another one.
I like the action aspect of that.
Of course.
I think everybody agreed that.
Nick's got a point he wants to.
He gave the horns.
I just agree with
He was the
Okay. I thought you were going to pull up something on the screen. I'm just like, oh.
So if you're talking about sequels that didn't live up to the standards to everybody, or because I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody's gonna argue that Terminator 2 wasn't better than the first one because it was miles better.
Oh yeah. Well, Terminator 1 introduced an interesting idea, an interesting world, and a hell of a villain.
Oh yeah,
a hell of a villain. And the second one enhanced everything else. It made the action better.
Yep.
It made the effects better. It made the story so much more broad and so much more like looming because it was only a few years away. It was only a few years away from when they were presented in the world, and it's just like, holy crap! Like this is some serious shit. And
and see the Cyberdyne arm and shit.
And you see it, and you're just like, whoa. And for me, a sequel that I will say, for me is if as good as, if not better. All the ones that you all have named, I will say yes, 100%. I would say Mad Max 2 is better than the original, and on top of that, I would say Fury Road is actually better than all of them.
Fury Road's my favorite.
Fury Road, I love Mel Gibson.
That's a big gap, but that's a big gap. That's like Max Fury. Mad Max Fury Road was just, to me, was one of the most badass ass-kicking movies I've seen, like from beginning to end. I don't think that movie let up but like twice.
Yeah, it led up to let you breathe, but yet you weren't overwhelmed by the action because there was so much inventive action going on. You didn't care because the villains with the spike cars introduced, and the ones who had like the backhoe arm, like trying to pull the semi over.
That's one of the very few movies I've actually seen where the stunt people do that while the car's actually moving.
Yes,
it is not a still car on a green screen. No,
they use some green screen shots for certain action scenes, but a lot of the ones where the people running on top of cars, those are real. Those are real, and
it's
done the making of that. They said that stunt driver flipped one of the cars more times than any car flip in history.
Oh yeah,
which I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I saw that. That's wicked to think about. Because you think about, it's pushing things to the next level, but doing it in a way that doesn't feel tired and reprocessed. Which George Miller's all about that. George Miller is a boundary pushing individual. He loves to do that stuff. And did you see Mad Max Fury Road, Keith?
Actually, I have not seen any of the Mad Maxes.
Oh!
Just bits and pieces
movie
of the original.
Night. That's a movie night idea right there.
I also haven't seen. I've seen a little bit of Fury Road, but
okay,
it's definitely pretty awesome. For cinematic history, it's pretty awesome.
I mean, again, me being, I'm not a huge fan of post-apocalyptic and dystopians. So it's kind of always kind of
I love that stuff.
Well, yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, for me, utopian ones, I like. One of your favorite films, Avatar. Yep. Avatar is like a semi utopian. Like, I mean, it depends looking to the future.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of depends on like there's certain ones, certain dystopians that are like what was it with Christian Bale, Equilibrium, I think.
Yeah, Equilibrium was pretty good.
That was an interesting concept.
Someone brought up Star Wars episode 5, or The Empire Strikes Back.
Well, I would say to counter that, I would say, well, no. I guess episode 3 would be better than the first 2 episodes. So
this is true. Episode 3 is far superior.
When the bar is set so low.
When the bar's set that low, it's like Melissa said, Jar Jar stinks.
I would say, I mean, I guess this is going to be kind of contentious, but I liked Die Hard 2 probably more than.
That's fair.
First one's good. I like the first one, but
that's fair.
My personal preference is
I think With a Vengeance is the best one.
Wow. Okay, so for me, the first one. The reason why the first one's good is because not only do you have John McClane, one of the best like sarcastic action heroes out there, the wisecracking ones, but you also have Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber, who is one of the best villains. In the second one, I like William Sadler as the bad guy because it's a turn. It's a turn that you don't. Or not. It was John Amos who actually did the turn, not William Sadler. But I liked William Sadler in that. But in With a Vengeance, I liked Jeremy Irons' character. I thought he was like the best villain since Hans Gruber, and he was actually Hans Gruber's brother. But But for me, the perfect setup in Die Hard is just everything that could have gone wrong in that scenario went wrong. Is like he had his shoes taken away, he got separated from his wife and doesn't know what's going on. He's got a sidearm and everyone else has got machine guns. It's just like good God, and it's in an incomplete building.
Ho.
Dawn of the Dead. Has anyone here seen Dawn of the Dead?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, that's fair.
They made like those James Romero?
George Romero.
George Romero. Where you have like the Night of the
Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Diary of the Dead.
I couldn't keep up with anymore.
No, some of them got a little out of control though.
Well, yeah.
Like it was just kind of wasn't about the zombies anymore.
There was one. I don't know if it was Diary of the Dead, but like it's like further into the future, and like the zombies are becoming sentient.
Oh, that one's not Diary of the Dead. That one was actually Land of the Dead.
Oh, Land of the where they're like you got like there's one zombie, he becomes like I guess the leader.
Yeah, it was the one in the gas station attendant uniform.
Yeah,
it was just
like start picking up guns and shit. I'm like
all of a sudden like they use the flares to distract them. 10 Cloverfield Lane. That's not actually confirmed to be a sequel. That's actually confirmed to be more like a pseudo sequel. Like it's set in the same world. But not.
Yeah, same thing with like Cloverfield Paradox.
Yeah, Cloverfield Paradox. But I thought 10 Cloverfield Lane is actually better than the first Cloverfield because a lot more tension and characters are a lot better. Just gonna be honest, because I like Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I didn't give a shit about the character. I can't remember their names. But I loved John Goodman and I loved Mary Elizabeth Winstead in that movie. But
I don't think I've seen. No, I haven't seen 10 Cloverfield Lane.
It's really good.
Cloverfield
I can definitely recommend 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
Oh, Evil Dead 2. Have you seen Evil Dead?
I have not. I'm not really a big horror film buff.
Well, that's fair. I understand.
I might go as far though as to say I might like Back to the Future 2 better than Part 1.
Oh, that's a bold statement. That's fair.
Matrix Reloaded better than Part 1.
Well, I could see the
definitely it's like silly future shit in there that it's like okay, this is kind of comical, but yeah.
You got certain franchises too, like Mission Impossible. I think Part 2 was the worst one.
But
yeah, Mission Impossible 2 definitely. So
yeah, John Woo. I love John Woo. John Woo's one of the best action directors of all time. But he
was just too over the top.
Gotta have the fucking scene with the birds,
doves flying in the underground bunker of all places. Yeah. Why are they in an underground bunker? Why aren't they on the beach hunting fish?
When they jumped off the motorcycles and like tackled each other in midair, is like.
Yeah, that was okay. So you're both dead because you just hit each other at a combined 130 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my thinking on the Mission Impossible series is that one was a good spy thriller, 2 was a ridiculous action farce, 3 was a smarter action farce, a smarter action movie, I should say.
The new trilogy,
the newest one, 4, 5. I still prefer Ghost Protocol. Ghost Protocol is still my favorite.
My favorite.
But then of course, Rogue Nation and also what's the newest?
Fallout. Yeah, I definitely like Fallout. I think it's. I'm not. I'm still kind of on the fence. I think it's probably the best out of the new trilogy
you think Fallout? I think Fallout is I think I have a Ghost Protocol to me is number 1. Whereas the other 2, Rogue Nation and Fallout are tied.
That's how I feel.
It's interesting because the new trilogy, it's all kind of tied into one general story in a way.
It is, and that's good.
Yeah, so I think
it's really good.
I mean, they're all good together. I think is at least.
Oh yeah, because. Even though they're all like having their own separate stories, that could be their own separate movies. There's still an underlying tone of this shadow organization that's overseeing and pulling all these strings that you figure out by Fallout, and you're just like, oh, okay.
I do kind of want to know what the hell happened to Zoe Saldana, from Ghost Protocol, Black Girl.
Oh, that's actually not Ghost. That actually wasn't.
That wasn't her, was it?
That was. What's her name? Paula. Paula Patton. That was actually Paula Patton.
Sure?
Yeah.
I thought that was the lady from that basically played as Natiri in Avatar.
No, that's Zoe Saldana. It was Paula Patton. Paula Patton actually used to be married to Robin Thicke.
Okay.
But no, she's a great actress too, and I was wondering about that too. Like I was actually wondering what the hell happened to Ving Rhames in 4, and then he shows up right at the end, and I'm just like, oh, there he is. Yeah. There's Luther.
Was what's his name? Hawkeye.
He was not in Fallout because of scheduling conflicts with the Avengers films, but he was in. I loved him in Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation. I thought they were both. I thought his character was really good.
I just love it. Like he's the sane person in the room. Where like
he is.
If you were standing there, if anybody else other than Tom Cruise was standing there, telling you, no, we're gonna have to give the real bomb codes to the enemy so that we can stop them. He's gonna be the guy that's standing there. He's the rational one thinking, are you fucking stutid? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, he was the logic. He was the logical minded individual of the entire because everyone's just like, you can climb up the side of this building, and he's just like, I wouldn't do that. and it is true. I mean, Tom Cruise is a nut.
I did like that scene on the Burj Khalifa. And
I thought that was really cool.
He jumps on the rope and he can't make it, so he just fucking bam hits that glass because that shit looked kind of real, almost like.
Well, Tom Cruise does the majority of his own stunts.
Oh, yeah. He like fucked up his ankle on Fallout, I think.
Oh yeah,
he broke it.
He did. I remember he actually showed the scene and where he did it, and they did like a slow-mo replay.
Fucking like fold in. I'm like, ugh.
I think they actually used that scene for the movie.
They did.
Mistake.
They did, and because he got back up and kept running, and that what they did to film the rest of the scene was they filmed a double running at full speed, and then they filmed him later after he'd had a really good ankle brace put on, to where he could at least get a decent run going, and only filmed him like running from waist up for 10-15 seconds.
Leave it
that guy
crew to rig up an ankle brace.
Fucking Tom Cruise in a Mission Impossible. He's probably clocked 10 miles of running altogether in all those movies.
Yeah,
I know he took like 2 years to learn how to
fly a
helicopter just for that movie, and that's
because
a lot of damn dedication.
Yeah, that one scene he actually flips it, and I'm just like. I'm like, what? Tom.
Did you see Fallout?
Nope.
Oh, fuck.
Oh. Don't worry, we didn't spoil anything.
You're good.
We didn't spoil anything. We didn't give away, who's who and what's what. And...
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, somebody got hurt in the movie. You don't know how or what or when or where.
Yeah.
Well, now I'll be looking for it when I do watch the movie.
Oh, you'll notice it. You'll notice it now.
Sometimes. Spoilers usually never deter me from watching a movie or really make me angry or anything. I prefer not to spoil movies if it's like an important franchise that I really like Star Wars. When everybody was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Han Solo dies," I'm like, "Thanks, you asshole." I'm just like, really? Come on. But of course, that was the internet. The
Internet's ruthless, dude.
The day that movie came out, I think there was probably millions of Facebook statuses that just said Han Solo dies. It was like, oh.
I will never forgive myself because I ruined Pulp Fiction for a friend of mine. I thought he'd seen it, but he talked about Pulp Fiction. He was like really interested in it and everything. He's like, and I was just like, I did this, and I'm like, yeah, dude, it just really sucks when Vince Vega gets killed, and he's like, what? And I'm like, have you not seen? And he's just like, no, and I'm like,
well, to be honest,
if
it's been out for a long time,
well, it was a few years ago. It was
Pulp Fiction came out what,
94? 94.
Okay, yeah,
so,
20.
Yeah.
It's a 24-year-old film.
Years now.
Yeah, almost 25. That scares me.
Yeah, that's on him.
Yeah. Well, I just didn't want to ruin because there's some films I still am spoiler season on. Because I'm just like, I don't want to ruin it. Because it's just like 7. I don't want to ruin 7 for anybody who hasn't seen it. Because to me, that's probably David Fincher's best film, in my opinion.
I do not identify as spoiler sensitive.
I know you don't. And that's fine.
I do on my
There's just too
games.
much stuff out there.
Video games, I understand that.
I mean, I'm
trying
to avoid
it's kind of
stuff
hard
now,
not to.
as
If you
we
get on the
speak.
internet, you're not going to get around it.
So, have you played System Shock? Has anyone here played the System Shock series?
I'm not.
Okay, well,
I don't think so.
There's a turn that happens in that game that pretty much put me on my friggin' head. I was just like, what? And like a thing that happens that you're the entire game. Get that off the screen. Get that off the screen. He just put Shodan up on the screen. She's the main villain of the entire System Shock series.
Okay.
She's a rogue AI who pretty much kills anything she perceives as a threat. She's if Hal was like super intelligent with fiber optic wires instead of like danky ass 56K connection.
Hal?
From
Hal, I'm thinking Hal's moving castle.
Hal 9000.
Okay, got
from,
you. I was like, wait a minute, what?
From 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Because
he had me confused there for a second. I was thinking of Hal's moving castle.
No,
like Rocky film. I was like, wait a minute, what are we talking about?
but Shodan is a hell of a villain. I think she's probably one of the best villains in. Yep, there he is. There's Hal. I'm sorry, I cannot do that.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave. He says it so polite and gentle.
Well, that's what they wanted. Kubrick,
open the door.
Kubrick was very precise about that. He wanted no inflection. He wanted Cal to be a cold, efficient killer, and he was. Killed all those fucking astronauts, dude.
That's the weird thing, because in that scene, I watched. I don't know if I've watched the whole thing of 2006. I've seen like the beginning, like the first 30 minutes for sure.
Of course.
But like I watched that scene where he does like I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave. Doesn't the dude, the astronaut or whatever, he's like, Hal, open the door. Hal, open the door, like 7 or 8 fucking times. Like, goddamn, dude,
it's a couple.
He's used.
Maybe some YouTube version that I watched or some shit.
Well,
yeah, there's been a few renditions of it that change it up. They'll change Hal's voice on YouTube and make it like Google or Alexa or something like that.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave.
I'm sorry, David. I'm afraid I cannot do that. Actually, someone actually did a Siri version where it's like, "Hey Siri, call me this from now on," and it's like
he does that.
It's like the guy's going like, "Hal, open the door. Hal, open the door," and it goes, "Ding." I'm sorry, Sexy Beast 69.
Oh my God.
I cannot do that. I'm just like, it takes all the tension away from the scene when you ask your AI to call you Sexy Beast 69. And like when your AI is really pissed at you, it can go.
What's your Google call you, Keith?
Oh.
We may be censoring the. We may have to censor this. I'm just joking.
Let's see here.
Nah, your phone's set up differently. Is
No.
it?
Oh. But up.
I think it's
With the
signal in here.
Peruvian whistles.
Yeah, good luck.
We'll go ahead and play that for the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, my favorite thing that I've ever seen someone do with Siri, renaming them. It's like,
What's my name?
Did you have your phone on silent from earlier?
You're supposed to say my name.
say my name. You're Heisenberg. You're goddamn right.
I don't know.
But my favorite thing I ever seen someone do with Siri was like, what's my name? And Siri's just like, your real name is John, but you asked me to call you vagina, 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 vagina. And what he did, he started dancing to it. He's just like, vagina, 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 vagina. I'm just like, you son of a bitch.
That's awesome.
Okay, so we want to answer some questions here.
Oh, sure. So, look at you, hacker, a pathetic creature of meat and bone, panting and sweating as you run through my corridors. How can you challenge a perfect immortal machine?
What is it?
I forget, what is that from? That's Shodan. I think that's Shodan. Because Shodan, you're trying to shut her down.
Yeah.
You're like in her processing core, and like you've cut off all exits for her.
Got it.
Like she's like trying to, at first she's threatening you, like you're nothing to her. But then as she starts to see you may actually pull this off. She starts to implore you, and she's just like, what I've given you are toys, merely toys. If you really wish to be more than what you are,
is it kind of like
you will spare me. And your character actually goes, nah.
Is it kind of like a Gladys kind of type deal, sort of?
Kind of,
like
except where GLaDOS has sort of a personality that in the second game can be reasoned with, because she realizes where what her AI came from, and there was like the little splinter in her programming that was still part of her creator's personality.
Yeah.
Instead, Shodan is just, she's designed to be a perfect operating system. She oversees this colony that you're on, and her job is to pretty much keep the colony safe. They give her all of this power and all of these privileges and administrative things. And
man, I can't wait till we do that here on Earth.
Oh, I know, right?
I get rid of politicians.
Yeah, it's all of a sudden you just see the rockets pass each other in the air, and you're just like, this was a good idea.
Yeah, this is about what I expected.
Yeah, it's like, well, time to go into the bunker.
Nah.
And then you're just like at the door ready to close it, and we're just like, Roan, wait! And he's like, so long, jerkwads.
So, see, that's the thing. I think it's part of my kind of distaste for like dystopians and post-apocalyptic type stuff is just because like it's always based on like this assumption. Oh, yeah, of course we have to nuke each other, or of course we invented an AI that has to fucking turn against us, like Terminator and stuff. It's
I think
it's like the Terminator syndrome.
Like Interstellar, where the world's just losing its resources. It's just slowly dying out because the atmosphere is not.
But that makes more sense as far as it's kind of like you're going out in a whimper rather than a bang.
It's like global warming on the extreme end.
Well, yeah, that's C.S. Lewis said that humanity will not end with a bang, but with a whimper. Yeah. And it and someone else I think said World War III will be fought with thermonuclear warheads.
Yeah, but
World War IV will be fought with sticks.
And stones.
Yeah. So it's just like, yeah, I can see that, because let's be honest. I mean, if we nuke ourselves back to the Stone Age, it's just like what will we do if we nuke ourselves? Like, technology that still works will become like priceless artifacts because of just how dependent we are on stuff.
Reminds me of Shannara Chronicles. I'm not sure if you ever watched a few episodes of it.
No, I haven't actually.
I'm actually a pretty big fan of Shannara Chronicles. I love it. And it's set about 1,000 years after humanity, or I'm sorry, a couple thousand years after humanity destroyed itself, nuked itself, pretty much. And so yeah, they see like old junk cars and computers. Those are just artifacts of the old ages, and they really don't even mess with it. It's the reason they don't mess with it is because their societies have pretty much deemed that stuff evil. That technology brainwashed humans into going into nuclear war and stuff.
Oh,
so they kind of they keep everything old style, but they also bring back fantasy stuff, kind of like orcs and dwarves and elves and magic. So it's its own fantasy setting, but it's kind of cool when they just walk by like an old like a car, like a Tesla, except it's all rusted and just a piece of parts, and it's vegetation's grown over it and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really cool.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like believing that okay, there's no hope for humanity. We're not gonna. I think we as a species, as a society, we're a hell of a lot more stabilized than we give ourselves credit for.
Well, we always imagine doomsday scenarios in our head. Yeah. That's how a lot of people are out there. But there are optimists out there, techno optimists and everything. CGP Grey is actually a prominent YouTuber who is a massive techno optimist. Or at least he used to be until he read a book called Superintelligence, which actually put a massive asterisk next to that. He's still a techno optimist, and he still looks forward to when AI is able to solve a lot of low demand issues that humanity doesn't have the time or the patience for and stuff like that. But at the same time, he understands that it will that it will eliminate a lot of low-skilled jobs and low-skilled labor. And
that's just that's going to happen real fast. The thing is, though, part of it is kind of it's the same argument of the tractor is going to eliminate so many jobs on the farm because before the industrial era, pretty much 95% of the workforce were farmers. But once you have industrialization, then you don't need nearly as many people on a farm, but you have all of the industry that comes with it. So I think what's going to happen is as we become more and more automated, a lot of that lower skilled service based type job market and stuff will be eliminated, and it'll force people to learn higher skilled type jobs. I think those will still be around. As far as like with film and gaming and stuff like that, a lot of that is based on creativity, and until we get some super intelligent AI that have vast levels of learning capabilities, then I think we're going to be pretty safe as far as doing like any kind of entertainment
the creative
stuff.
and entertainment industries
will be good for a while.
It's still booming. Some people say, "Oh, well, Hollywood's about to run out of money." No, they're not, because there's more independent filmmakers now than ever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not as much multi-billion-dollar movies anymore.
Well, like I said previously, I think the Hollywood system is going to die out very slowly, and it's just going to be all over. Like, it's just like the limiting process that they've tried to put on independent filmmakers. The SAG, the PGA, directors. All these guilds that have popped up over like the last 10, 15 years has just like shown how ridiculous Hollywood is to hold on to what little flame they have of influence.
They're definitely a husk of what it used to be like in the 40s and 50s.
Well, dude, the golden age of film, like where films were so influential upon society, and then eventually, instead of it being influential upon society, instead it just became solely about entertainment. And then when it becomes about entertainment, and if you don't learn how the swing goes, then you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
And also the ease, like how easy it is to acquire technology for like this right here. This can film at higher resolution than like $1,000 cameras that were available 10 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. And this is like in your pocket. You could just be like, "Hey, smile." There you go. And that's that. And I would say it takes talent, of course, to be able to set up the shot, to be able to edit it properly. It's its own beast.
Very in depth, and that's why DPs get paid a lot of money. For a good DP. There's a lot more goes into it than
I know. I'm just being silly.
Yeah, it's where they just have that 1/8 inch sensor into them. That's their limit. That's their holdback. Is their sensor. But they're getting to where now they can split so much digital compression into these sensors. It makes it look really good, especially when other people are viewing it on phones, because most people are watching videos and tablets, phones, stuff more than anything else right now. Most people aren't watching your stuff on a big screen as much either. So that has to be said, though. Resolution has come a long way. We have a very high-end camera that was a really high-end camera, I think 12 years ago. It was the Red 1, and the sensor's this big on it. And that sensor can pull in more light and color science than a 1/8 inch ever can, even if that thing hits, if phones are 8K by 2 or 3 years now. Like that, if they're 8K resolution, that 1080p is still going to look better than that 8K resolution due to the color correction.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, the color science in the chipset. So, but definitely, man. I didn't get my first 1080p camera until it came to DSLRs. And if you really think about it, that's when things 7 years ago, I think. So.
Yeah, that's when things really started to pop off for indie filmmakers. Was when DSLRs got video capability and were able to just like start because I remember when they filmed an entire season of House on the Rebel T2Is.
Yep.
And it actually looked really freaking good.
And those are cheap cameras too.
Yeah.
You can get those for what, $200?
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah, and now like the Rebel series just keeps improving itself. Although Black Magic Hack Yeah, or use the
Magic Lantern.
Oh yeah, Magic Lantern. That's it.
My
Sorry,
Magic's
Magic
another
Lantern
brand.
hack.
That's
Yeah,
another
sorry.
brand
That's
of
a whole other thing. Actually, I was thinking about getting the Black Magic Cinema camera at one point because that's a beautiful piece.
Nice
Because and also it has an EF mount, so all my Canon lenses will work with it.
They're the only camera manufacturer I know that comes with a really big monitor.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even my Sony FS5, it's monitors like that
Yeah.
big. The Black Magic is like this big. It's
Yeah, it's like
a
entire
tablet.
back
It is.
camera.
It's
lens on it.
Yeah, it's awesome. I like that. I thought about getting one just to see how it operates and everything.
Yeah, they're really cool.
And now they got the little micro ones too.
Oh, speaking of which, did you see? Speaking of Overwatch, thank you, Cameron. Did you see the Christmas short?
I did not.
They just put a Christmas short last night. I thought it was really cool. It was really cool. It's Reaper and Tracer are action figures up on a shelf, kind of like Toy Story.
Oh,
and then
God.
They come alive, and then there's cookies and milk left for Santa, and Reaper's trying to sneak in and get those cookies. So he's trying to get in, and Tracer keeps zooping around taking it from him. And so Reaper gets pissed. Well, then they see Santa, and then they go back to their action figure pose, kind of like they do in Toy Story. And I don't want to spoil the ending for you, though, but it was cool. It was really cool.
Dang.
If anybody hasn't seen it,
Yeah,
it's-
check it out.
All right, I'll have to
It
check
came out
that out.
yesterday.
Definitely. So, so in terms of earlier on we talked about the PlayStation. You know, the PlayStation Classic.
yeah, we got way off topic.
Yeah, we did. Hey, that's what we do, man. Renegades Ramble. That's
It's a lot
hey.
called Renegade
What did you expect? It's Zoidberg. Maybe
So,
time
I'm
for.
sorry, what topic are we going back to?
It's like sorry. Maybe time for Zoidberg. Is that? So yeah, the PlayStation Classic. So, so the name of this podcast we'll touch on this whole thing. So classic consoles that you're seeing nowadays, you know, they're going to discontinue the whole SNES and NES classics, which is a mistake, Nintendo, but you made mistakes before. But
yes and no.
well, whereas the PlayStation Classic has already been discounted. How much is it now, Keith? It's like
$75.
Yeah, $75, which is ridiculous. And a lot of people are buying it and just turning them into emulation boxes, like just emulator machines. In which
You do it for cheap.
I've done the same. I pretty much made my NES Classic. I installed all the NES games that I could find on it, all the SNES games I could find on it, and all of like the Game Boy and Game Boy Color games I could find on it.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It's a really, really cool, really cool thing that you're able to do that. And PlayStation, you can do the same on there, but according to a lot of people out there, the hardware is not as good, and it doesn't play the games to the quality that you'd get on an SNES Classic. It's just like, what? SNES Classic came out like 2 years ago, and you're saying that you can't play it as as the same on here? Nope. It's like, well, crap.
As far as like the like retro classic things that they've been putting out here the last few years, is there some massive and cool hardware thing they're adding into it, or is it just literally the same thing as it was 20, 30 years ago?
They are
Basically HDMI out.
HDMI out with a few little caveats here and there. They have like little filters you can put on it to make the TV look like an older TV.
Lines.
Yeah, you can insert
You got
scan lines and
save
stuff.
states.
Yeah, that's another.
Do they
cool
have
thing.
some sort of interconnectivity, like internet or anything, or
Not
No.
really, unless you connect it
That's
to a computer to like mod it and put more games on it.
Okay.
That's really it.
so where these take the cartridges, the new ones have.
Yeah, it can't
preloaded
connect to
ones.
the internet.
Got
It's basically
Yeah.
preloaded with a set number of games.
it. Does the PlayStation even come with like the disc thing?
Nope.
No.
Okay, so it's just
You can't put real disc in it. It looks like a little miniature version of it. It's kind of like a. If you ask me, the more like collector's pieces for stuff like that. I mean, but it's kind of strange when you see the younger audience playing that, and that's representing. The entirety of PlayStation, and especially with the PlayStation Classic, where it didn't come with very many great games.
No, but you can install them on it.
Yeah.
That's for sure. That's what a lot of people are doing. So there's talk that they may do other classic consoles. Like they've talked about doing an N64 classic, which I'd welcome. I'd welcome with open arms. And then there's also talk of a Game Boy.
Well, Nintendo at least gives you good games with it.
Oh yeah, and then there's also talk of a Game Boy classic. Now, Ron, you never played anything on like N64 or Game Boy.
I think that I got a Game Boy at one point. I don't know what type. It was a long time. It's probably like late '90s, early 2000s that I had it.
Huh.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't remember anything about it.
That's fine. It's fine. And
I think I got that, and then I ended up getting like a PlayStation Portable at one point. The first PSP.
Yeah.
And I played that for a little bit. But, yeah.
This is after the Game Boy, the different variations of that one, the colored ones. Then Game Boy Color came out. Then the Game Boy Advance came out. And this was the first one that came out that was truly backlit. And let's see if I can just pop it on there. It's probably dead. Yep, it's dead.
It's unfortunate. But
yep. But that was the very first one that came out with a truly backlit. That actually worked very well.
And also, you can play Game Boy games.
Yep.
On
all
this
the
as well.
Game Boys were backwards compatible all the way up until they went. Was it the 3DS?
3DS, where they went with the smaller cartridges. And if you ask me, I think the perfect way to do like a Game Boy classic, do this model and like
That's
put in like
my
a
favorite model.
Yeah, put in like a big SSD memory stick in here.
I mean, well, they could fit
and then
every
just
one of those games easy on a
touching
micro
on
SD.
that also, it's like it actually stopped on the DS instead of the 3DS because
because the DS.
you had your Fat and Light would play the games, but once they come out with the DSi, that's whenever they done away with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
So
Thanks for the fact check.
Thank you, man.
Well, yeah.
Keeping us
Hate to
on
be a
that
know-it-all. I'm sorry.
No. I prefer it, dude. I prefer that.
Me too.
So, for me, I would welcome it, although it's just like, well, if they're gonna just put it out for a little while and then just nix it after a while, it's like, well, what's the point? Other than it being a collector's piece.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'd love to have something like this that I can just like pull out and play classic games like Super Mario and stuff like that. Imagine them doing like a 4-button thing on here and being able to play all the SNES and NES.
That was the best thing. Once they added the 4 buttons onto them, it was, oh man, you could do so much more.
Yeah.
I think the Super Nintendo controller was my favorite controller out of the early Nintendo line. Even when the 64 came out, I was not happy with the joystick controller. It was just a very weird. It did work very well for certain games like Star Fox and Zelda, Ocarina of Time. And,
Ocarina, the Z targeting.
64 worked very well too.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, when it came to certain games, preferred to use the D-pad.
Yeah.
Because it was what they were used to. And then whenever you got the dual joysticks on, I think it was Sony who first did that. And then
the DualShock.
Yeah, the DualShock. And then those became standard on PlayStation 2. I remember like the first PlayStation controllers, they didn't have the joysticks and all that. It was just the directional buttons, and then
same as the ones you get with the PlayStation Classic.
Right,
yeah.
They're not DualShock.
Yeah, first place they didn't have titles.
So the PlayStation 1, even though
they don't have Rumble either.
They made the DualShock, there still wasn't any shooters at the time that really utilized the dual joystick method that we have used in all shooters now.
Yeah.
I believe it was on console-wise, Halo 1 was probably the first one that revolutionized gaming because of that, because of the dual joystick movement.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at like GoldenEye, it's a single joystick movement.
Yeah.
Medal of Honor games for PlayStation 1 did not utilize that.
I think GoldenEye, though, GoldenEye Perfect Dark was the first time that, we actually had a working first-person shooter on a console, though. One that you
definitely.
One that you could just say was more than working.
Because if you remember how Doom
really
was, you didn't look up or down on Doom. It was
straightforward, pow, 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 pow.
Left and right. And
yeah.
I remember playing it on MS-DOS. It was the arrow keys.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't before the mouse, so it was before the mouse. So it was arrow keys, and usually you could set up your certain buttons to shoot. I can't remember what the controls were at the time, but
Actually, Video Game Donkey, who's a very prominent YouTuber, he talked about when he played Gold. He went back and played. He remember he was playing GoldenEye as a kid. Like it's like, oh my god, so fun and all that. But because his brain is now programmed with the dual sticks,
yeah.
For him it's impossible.
It's hard. It feels so hard to play it now. You're
yeah,
like, what is going on?
And actually, he recommended that download the ROM, like download the ROM, and then also play it with a keyboard and mouse because there is actually a program out there.
You can look up on there, but
yeah,
you
can
hold the button and it's like a one motion. You pretty much have to stop.
Yeah, whereas with this, actually you can run and gun on the mouse and with the mouse and keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like running through just like and just like wow, that's awesome.
Speaking of like a controller comparison, Mega Man Legends, notoriously, a lot of people, that was the biggest complaint, was the controls are very hard. I would agree the controls were not that great.
Yeah.
I wish it did utilize something like the DualShock. But on the 64, oh, buddy. I could not get a hang of those controls at all in that game. Mega Man Legends or Mega Man 64 was ridiculously hard just because of the controller.
Yeah.
I'm also hearing about a couple of projects from Sega, maybe, like they had another upcoming clone console that was going to be produced by AT Games, and I guess after the line of trash they released over the years, they finally canned them, and from what I'm understanding, it's actually going to be produced in-house.
Yep.
It's going to be an in-house production.
I wonder what they're going to do with it.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty cool because
and there's also another one coming out.
I will never buy another AT Games product. And this is just my personal opinion on it. Just my personal opinion. Don't take this as home. It's just, I've never seen such cheap quality manufactured stuff in my life.
It's trash.
Yeah. I mean,
Garbaggio.
I have no problem saying that.
I've had a few AT Games models, and every one of them broke within a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
Everything from buttons going all the way through it to you just not work.
But there is another one coming out, and it's not Sega. I want to say maybe it's a Sega Genesis NT, but it actually has hardware rather than using emulations from cartridges or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's actually going to have a Sega CD drive on it as well. But I think you're looking at about $180 for that, and in the world of clone consoles, that's astronomically high.
Well,
but again, you do have actual hardware.
Well, for me, nothing to me has been able to beat the Retrobit trio because what was that, Nick?
He showed us Alien
Resurrection on PlayStation.
PlayStation 1.
I remember that.
I actually never played that one.
I never did either. I think maybe he brought that up because we were talking about first-person shooters, and I think maybe that's like one of the first ones to like truly utilize.
I believe if I remember correctly, wasn't it a lot like Quake?
I think so.
Yeah. I don't want to talk too much on it because, I'm not familiar with it, so I don't want
to... It was the first two-stick shooter. Okay, so yeah, Alien Resurrection was the first two-stick shooter.
So it was? Okay.
So yeah, that's...
So it wasn't Halo? See, I just remember Halo kind of revolutionized at the time because I think that was the most popular game that just took shooters... it just made that the standard for first-person shooters for console.
Yeah.
I don't remember much games before that ever being that way. And when the DualShock came out, most PlayStation games still did not utilize the DualShock, listen to me, DualShock
the dual shit,
the dual shit,
the dual shit
controllers. Here we go.
So it's like, oh wow, that was. I was like, you get done, it's just like, oh goodness, whew, that was that.
Matthew,
oh wait, what is it? Oh god,
dual shit.
Dual shits.
Matthew Winston's wondering what is our favorite games of all time.
Wow, loaded question.
I'll go ahead and start first. Mega Man X.
There you go.
Mega Man X 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All of them.
All right. So the X series.
Yep. The X series is my favorite games of all time.
What about you?
Probably. God damn. It's always back and forth. But I'm gonna go ahead for tonight. We'll say Mass Effect followed by Halo, and then we'll reverse it next week.
There you go. Oh, how about you, Keith?
Oh man, that's a very broad question.
I know it's a loaded one.
I'd probably have to go with something along the lines of Mario 64,
Good one. Very good one.
Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii.
Yep.
Was,
Classic.
insane. A Link to the Past.
Da, 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 da.
Super Metroid.
Yep. Of course.
I mean, it's just, I really don't have one. I mean, if I had to choose one game, I might say just original Super Mario Brothers, just because of what it done for games in general.
Yeah.
But I can't pick one.
That's. Oh, I'm glad you brought up Super Metroid because that Mother Brain boss battle at the end.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I can give you like a list of maybe 10 for each system or something, but as far as just one overall.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's just like me. I don't know. I'd say okay. My favorite. Okay. I'll go with I'll go with the consoles here on the table. So, favorite NES game. Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yep. You beat me to it on that one.
Favorite SNES game. I would probably say I do adore Mega Man X. I do adore Mega Man. It's definitely top 3.
Yeah.
I would probably still have to say damn. Shit, it's killing me. I would still probably have to say okay, number 2 probably Super Mario World.
Super Mario World. That is probably, besides the Mega Man X series, that is my next favorite series.
And number one, Star Fox.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Number one's probably because
I think I beat
it
that game
pushed
probably
so many
1,000 times.
boundaries
Yeah.
because of 3D, because of the 3D aspect, the sound aspect, the sound card actually, which was designed by Sony and which actually what started the partnership which started the partnership with Sony that actually led to the creation of the PlayStation, and then of course. N64.
So,
go ahead.
I want to let Roan hear, since he's probably not familiar with the sounds of some of them. So here's the voice acting in Star Fox SNES. So.
What the fuck is that?
Damn it!
That's really fucking
Damn it!
annoying. You had to play a game and listen to that shit?
That is awesome, dude.
Oh my god. Please
Yeah.
stop.
Damn it, Slippy.
Slippy. Yeah, Slippy.
Pepe.
Is that supposed to be like that equivalent of like Charlie Brown's teacher thing? Yeah. It's really annoying. And that's why I haven't played any of the older games.
The voices are weird, but Corneria theme.
I promise.
Corneria theme. I agree, Nick.
You would get.
I agree.
You'd be like, oh, this is awesome. Because I mean, if you think of that's goofy, really look at kind of like the goofy characters from Star Wars, right? You don't have voices. You didn't have the technology to actually have voice clips in the SNES at the time. So you were converting voice clips into 8-bit. So how can you make them give mood and tone, but just make noises? So, but yeah, you're in a ship. You're playing as Fox McCloud, and you're in a ship through space, and you're on the other end of the galaxy, and there's enemy ships coming at you, and you're flying through the asteroid belt, and those little things will pop up, and it'll say the text on the screen.
Yeah, I'm assuming
but
the
it
text
just was
is-
like it's only for like a split second. So
Yeah.
and it doesn't do that like constantly. I mean,
Well, back on my favorite games on the consoles we have on the table.
sorry, you go with
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. No,
That's my
it's fine.
favorite
It's
That
fine.
just sounded like a DJ took the record. Fucking. Yeah,
So, N64, I have to split it in two here. Favorite party game, Super Smash Brothers.
It's a damn good one.
Favorite solo single player experience, Ocarina. Game Boy, as in the original Game Boy, I would probably say. Da 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 da. So yeah, Original Game Boy, I would probably say, because I still own it and because I wasted so much of my life on it, because I was trying to complete it and capture all 150 of those fuckers. I gotta say Pokemon Yellow Pikachu Edition. That includes Game Boy and Game Boy Color. And then Game Boy Advance, Castlevania Circle of the Frickin' Moon.
Nice.
Oh, love that. Also, I like that game a lot because the pro tag is named Nathaniel. So
Nice.
Union Jack the Ripper has come on. He said,
Union.
feel like strategy genre is making a comeback. I'm assuming, are you talking about RTS strategy, like real-time strategy?
I think
like
so.
Command and Conquer?
I think so.
I hope so. I mean, I enjoyed the hell out of Halo Wars and Halo Wars 2.
Yeah.
Those I actually just, when I was waiting for Just Cause 4 like the last few days, I was like, God damn it, it can't come fast enough. So I started playing. I loaded up Command and Conquer 3 Tiberian Wars on Steam again, just kind of get it run through. And it was cool because, again, back when I first played it, didn't have that 1080. I had to keep my settings pretty low because I had just a consumer computer. Now that I have that 1080, it's kind of nice just to go in and like crank all the resolution, everything up to the fucking max.
Benjamin Solberg, we did watch a new Fitz. You'll have to find out which one it is.
But I hope RTS does make a comeback. Yeah, I'm probably not as into it as it used to be.
Yeah,
I used to play like Empire Earth and
yeah. I remember when StarCraft, the original StarCraft, ruled the freaking internet for so long.
All my friends played it, and I was like, "What the hell is this StarCraft they're talking about?"
Yeah.
And my friend was playing it on a Mac. Not kidding at the time. Yeah, you could play StarCraft on a Mac. That was pretty common. He was playing it on there, and he made me sit there and learn that game.
Oh,
I was
gosh.
like, "Oh, are you serious?" I just did not want to because it was such a big learning curve. But once I did, it became the most addictive game I'd ever played. I think for an RTS, I put more. Well, I think I outbeat it with StarCraft 2 eventually.
No, I haven't played it. But is it just ground based, or is there actual space space battles and stuff?
No, on planets.
Just planets. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I figured.
It's you pretty much go to other planets and conquest and all that.
It's got a pretty awesome story.
I mean, I've learned a lot
Jim
of the
Raynor.
backstory.
Jim Raynor is like considered by many to be like one of the most badass pro tags of all time.
Yeah,
And Kerrigan, fucking Kerrigan, dude.
She's even got a skin in Overwatch. I mean, it is.
I've learned about her like just from some like the backstory thing. Like I watched was it fucking God, I can't think of it. Something Institute.
Give us your.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm just different YouTube channels that do a lot of that stuff, like the game historian kind of stuff.
My favorite's probably Did You Know Gaming. I love Did You Know Gaming. But
Tarkus Finley, I can never say his name right, but he's like, "Damn, Jimmy boy, you sure are a hard man to find." Hey, I just loved him. I hate it. I didn't want to spoil anything, but
that's fine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody here's probably played StarCraft. I can't.
Yeah,
I hate it when he died.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's my.
He was a good one,
just
dude.
because he was so funny and his personality was funny.
So, what about you? What for the ones on the table? What are your favorites for each of these consoles?
Oh, NES. I go with probably Super Mario 2 or 3.
Fair enough.
2 or 3.
Mega Man Part 2. Double Dragon.
Double D, yeah.
Tecmo Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Bo Jackson, Unstoppable.
Yeah, like Super Nintendo, I don't know. Super Mario World, Star Fox for sure, Super Metroid, Link to the Past.
Yeah.
And then like Final Fight, Street Fighter 2.
Wow, yeah.
Combat.
You quit listing all the games.
Mega Man X.
You're making me envious, man. I'm just like, I want to play all these games right now.
Like N64, I guess. Star Fox 64.
Yeah.
Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, GoldenEye,
64.
Perfect Dark, Ocarina of Time, of course.
Yeah.
Handhelds though, it's kind of a weak point there on some of the earlier ones. Super Mario Land, I guess, the original Game Boy. Game Boy Color, wow. don't even know. Maybe Donkey Kong Land or something. Maybe
That's a good one.
Game Boy Advance, absolutely. Metroid Zero Mission.
Yeah. Metroid Zero Mission.
Yeah, I thought it
was Metroid Fusion on the Advance?
It was on the Advance as well.
Yeah.
I played through it with the Game Boy player, so I mean, being able to play it on big screen TV.
Yeah.
GameCube controller, I mean, world of difference.
Yeah, of course. Oh gosh.
I mean, you know,
all these classic
so many,
Pineapple.
so many
Pizza
there.
Fan said a line from you might have heard this from Star Fox. Do a
barrel roll. If you type that in on Google, it still does a barrel roll.
Yeah.
I do think I've heard of that.
Yep.
Actually, hey Nick, bring up Google on here and see if it'll still do it. I need to see if it'll
What, like the screen will spin?
Yeah, the screen spins. Like legit.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Like watch this. Like do a barrel. Whoa!
That's awesome.
I love it. I love it. And that's one of the little things I like about Google. They also did one in Google Maps. Like if you typed in the Shire to Mordor, it'll say it won't give you direction. It'll just say one does not simply walk into Mordor. It used to do that, but it doesn't anymore. And it pisses me off.
A few things they've done on there.
We got the Super Mario Brothers. You can Google it, and it's got the question block over on the side.
Yeah.
That you can hit it 100 times, you get a 1-up.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I love that.
I like the little Google game whenever your internet goes out.
Oh yeah.
You hit spacebar or enter or whatever, and then it starts playing a game. You just jump. I did not even know that one time until one of my ex-girlfriend's kids. She had he was on there, and basically the internet was down, and he was playing this damn game. I was like, "What the hell you doing?" I didn't know it was a damn game.
That's just like playing Snake on YouTube.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. Yeah, the loading bar. You whenever the little loading thing was going on, you could just be like, "All right, let's play Snake." Boop, 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 boop.
I remember my first cell phone was this. I think it was well after we started getting flip phones and stuff. But I didn't get a flip phone. I got like a fucking Nokia brick.
Yes, those things were indestructible.
They were, but it came with Snake as a built-in game. Mm-hmm. I did like it because it did have that. I did like that little.
Yeah, that ringtone still comes with their phone.
But they came with the game Snake, so that was like the first thing I ever played with a fucking phone. That was
nice.
Stupid as shit.
Hey, no, that's good, man. I mean, I love those old games like that. You can't beat those. You can't beat those for the time. But nowadays, I see the new Tetris that they just came out with, and like people who are like grandmasters at the game are just like, this is the best version of Tetris by far, and I'm just like, how do you improve on Tetris?
Yeah.
It's like it's bricks and shapes kind of that. It's just like it's the speed, it's the feel, it's this, it's that, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't sure.
Know. Maybe I'm super shallow. I mean, I want my games to absolutely have a good story to them. So
I understand that.
But I love graphics. I know a lot of people don't care about graphics, but I care about graphics.
Oh, I like graphics. Graphics just add to the story for me, but a good story.
Yeah, graphics are always a bonus for me. And it's not a mandatory thing that my games have graphics. Because to me, I mean, growing up before the age of graphics in general, I mean, if you played the Atari 2600, we still had a really good time with that. You know, the Nintendo one you look at it now and it's like, you can just look at the evolution. Watch there's lots of evolution videos on YouTube. Evolution of like Nintendo or anything like that. Just look at it, and I think what games did back before they had a lot of these huge graphics is they made you use your imagination.
They did.
You didn't know. It's kind of like reading a book and you imagine it your way,
right.
And you become connected with that book, and then when they make the movie, that movie's never as good as your book, your vision of it, you know?
Yep.
So, but it's kind of the same thing when you play like a Final Fantasy 2 or 4. I didn't know what their voices sounded like. I'm making it up in my own head, you know? And then all you have is the music, the feel, and you kind of imagine more of the battle than what you're actually seeing. You know? And I think nowadays it's kind of the opposite. I mean, it's more like watching a Hollywood film.
It
I think
is.
since video games became I mean, I would almost say it's kind of like a same version of Hollywood system for video games now too that it's came to. And if you look at these AAA titles and all the money that goes into making these games and how many years it takes for development, they're very much like movies except playable. You know.
Yeah.
Like-
I don't know. I mean, like I said, my first game that I started with for Metal Gear was Metal Gear 4. Metal Gear Solid 4. And obviously that was super nice.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Son of
But
Liberty.
because I
Yeah.
love the game so much, like, all right, I'll fucking go back and play the first 3.
Mhm.
And it was somewhat painful trying to go through the first Metal Gear
No,
Solid.
I get to
The second one-
the Metal Gear games are painful anyway.
the-
They're
the-
clunky.
They are, but the second one at least worked for me because at least they kind of put it into more than 2.5D. Like
Yeah.
the first Metal
Yeah.
Gear is kind of in this like in between zone.
I don't think anybody thinks the first Metal Gear was a good game.
Well,
The
no,
first Metal
no.
Gear, I don't
Well,
think
it was
anybody said-
it was a genre changer, and plus Kojima was not given as good a budget.
It was a broken game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, to be honest, there was
Well, there's plenty of errors in it.
no like game breaking errors to where it was like you.
Well,
can't get
it's
past
because
this
Kojima
point.
had a vision for the game, but yet Konami was just like, "No, we're cutting the budget here," and he's just like, "Well,
It
shit."
seemed to end up being a recurring theme for them.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I have to agree with Nick. I think Metal Gear didn't get good till like the PlayStation 2 era, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era. That's when it became its name. So
You know, Metal Gear
but
Solid.
I'm not downing the games whatsoever, but that first one was not a big.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But Metal Gear Solid, I mean, just
Yeah.
it was.
Total different game.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. But Sons of Liberty and Snake Eater both are actually really good games.
Yeah, I
in their
mean,
right, too.
once I suffered through Metal Gear Solid, but once I got to Metal Gear Solid, I was like, all right, at least the graphics aren't it's still like 2002 graphics, but I can work with this.
Yeah,
Metal Gear Solid 4 was good. And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, so graphics to me is just, I do enjoy nice, clean.
I definitely enjoy
it's
it,
The
yeah.
prettier, because part of that goes into like I want to see movies that are like The Lion King now, where it's even though it's not live action, it's animated to the point that it is
oh yeah,
basically passable as live action. I want to see
Well,
that with humans and stuff.
See, I tell you what the problem is that you damn kids are spoiled.
Spoilt.
I
They're
remember going to damn KB Toys as a kid and buying an Atari 2600 brand new.
Oh God.
You know, so you
I remember
all have
KB
had the
Toys.
luxury of being born into a world where your first consoles was like third and fourth and fifth gen shit.
I think that's
but
what mine did. That was
where I started playing with dots and sticks and actually having to truly wait for the next step in technology to happen. I think I have a greater appreciation for it.
Well, no. Well, I have a great appreciation
Yeah.
for like where I started with the 8-bit series, and the
Now,
NES.
trust me, you get like some of that old like 70s, early 70s shit where you would actually put an overlay on your TV screen.
Just to play Pac-Man.
for it to be like a
What
little
was that
dot
called?
jumping up steps and stuff. And now, believe me,
that,
that's
wasn't it
before my time, and I
ColecoVision?
couldn't get
It was,
into that shit.
Was it the
What
ColecoVision?
was that console called?
Oh
Where you had to put
no,
that
it wasn't. No, it wasn't ColecoVision. It wasn't
Odyssey.
Odyssey.
What was it?
It was just old shit. It may have been Magnavox, something by Magnavox.
Yeah,
Sheesh.
I can't remember exactly.
I remember the video game. I remember hearing about the video game crash of 1982 because the market got so oversaturated with these shitty video game consoles.
83.
Oh, 83. Okay, and a lot of it was attributed to the E.T. the game, which is considered by many to be the worst
I
game
wouldn't
of
really
all
say
time.
That was the main contributor, but that was the
No, it was just
that was
one of
like
the most well-known
high-known
games.
examples of it. Yeah,
Well,
it's one of the most well-known examples.
It's
of,
just that there was
the
no licensing. Anybody could make a game.
crash. Yeah,
I mean, I remember seeing this thing where, like, I think it was Puppy Chow, of all damn things. If you bought a bag of dog food, they had their game included.
Jesus.
A Puppy Chow game. You didn't have to have Atari's permission or nothing. Basically, if you can put it on a board and put it on a cartridge that'll fit in the system, there you go.
Damn.
yeah,
And I mean, could you imagine a world like that today? I mean,
Oh, God.
we'd be in the same shape.
yeah.
Well, yeah, and
Like I own a television.
Now,
I can
now all
stick
those
Atari
people are just
2600
stuck in
cartridges in it.
the green light of Steam. They're stuck into that perpetual alpha phase.
Yeah, it's just like Fortnite. Fortnite is still in early access, and it's the most popular game in the world. Give me a break. You're not in early access anymore.
Too.
Get rid of that
They're
shit.
notorious for that. Cause, man, there's, like he said with Steam, man, I get on there and like my brother, he plays a lot of these Steam games, and he'll get them on there and try them, and you know that's cool. But man, I watched him playing some of the most broke stuff I've ever seen in my life. I'm like,
dumbest shit on
is anybody playing this?
There's no
Why?
quality control there.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, they're very limited.
There is one. There is Jim effing Sterling, who he calls himself the Steam Cleaner because him and this group of people. They get together and they pretty much just go into Steam Greenlight and they find the good games, they promote them, they find the crappy ones, and they're just like, needs work. Work on this. Don't ask people to pay $10 for a broken game.
Yeah.
And he does that, quality control and everything. And I actually think Steam Greenlight is actually ending. Let me look. Hold on. Let me look.
I'm not familiar with the process of going through to upload anything to Steam. I just heard it was very easy. You could have.
Oh yeah, it's extremely easy.
Yeah.
So Steam Greenlight, Steam ending, Greenlight, replacing it with Steam
Blue Light.
Blue Light Special on aisle 3. Steam Direct. And Steam Direct is a lot more moderated than Steam Greenlight was. Steam Greenlight, it was a cool idea, giving people a chance to put their indie games out there. But then you had a terrible instance of the Romines and their game, The Slaughtering Grounds. If you've ever if we were to make a video making fun of a terrible game, quote, really, really bad game, and we were to laugh at it, poke fun at it, and just be like, the devs really need to work on this crap. I mean, this is just basic gameplay. This is just basic game design stuff right here, and they're effing it up. And we make that video, and it blows up and gets popular. Gets 1 million hits. And then, all of a sudden, you hear that that the dev of that game has changed their name on Steam to your name, and instead have now released a video called Reviewing the Reviewer, and they blame you for not noticing all the bugs and all this and all that, and actually like working ways around them and everything. They like try to blame you for everything.
No.
And then
this happened?
Yes, this happened. It's called The Slaughtering Grounds Meltdown, and it was beautiful to watch. Jim Sterling is a very famous video game reviewer. You also check him out. He's awesome. And he is just stone cold to the point and is like ultra cynical about everything. He's like, Steam says they're going to clean up Steam Greenlight. I believe it when I'll see it. And it's just, he's just an outright, he's an a-hole, but he's a good a-hole. He's like the best kind. He'll tell you straight, he'll tell you like it is. You may not like what he has to say, but he'll be honest with you. And I like that about him.
Oh, yeah. I always appreciate it. I don't mind blunt honesty.
Well, and he actually had this happen, and he released Slaughtering Grounds Part 2, Review the Reviewer of Reviewers. And then he went back and he looked at their video, and he started laughing his ass off. YouTube is buffering. Crap, that sucks. So we're experiencing errors on here because YouTube is being stupid. Sorry, guys. Sorry, but
can they still hear us? Or?
Yeah, they can still hear us and everything. It's just the video.
Well,
keeps
we're
buffering.
about an hour and a half anyway.
Yeah, so
we gonna play some Overwatch tonight. Or?
Yeah,
I'm playing Overwatch tonight.
But I might get on. Me and Nick probably we're gonna record a couple things, but after we're done, I'll definitely be up for that.
All right.
Keith,
I think they are behind. Okay, so, but what about? What were you saying there?
I said Keith. He's gonna be He's gonna be staying here with us, so he'll be kind of joining us on there. So he'll be able to chat with us and stuff
That's
like
cool.
that.
That's cool. I don't mind
he's
that.
Not familiar with too much on Overwatch, but he'll learn a little bit.
That's fine. Hey, happy to have you.
Yeah, I'd get on there and
Get good.
slaughtered.
Get good. Get good, son.
Yeah, unfortunately, like with Overwatch, when you have games that if you jump into the first handful of times and you're good at it,
Yeah.
that's an easy game. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Overwatch is not one of those games to jump in there and yeah, I mean, it's okay. You'll get in there and get lucky with quick play and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
you're going to get your ass handed to you.
Quite a few times.
Yeah.
It comes with the territory.
So,
Once you learn everything, once you learn how a character works, you then start to be able to call strats a little bit with your friends, and it's just like, oh, this works. Oh my gosh, we're winning. Oh my gosh, we won. Holy crap, I'm actually okay at this.
Yeah, when I got like a 31 kill streak, I was like, with the Diva, I was like, oh, that's awesome. I got a 31 kill streak.
31's good.
31's a good kill.
That's really good.
That is actually. It's really good. She's a beast.
Extremely powerful
Yeah,
tank, and the thing about it is, you only know this much of what she's capable of. Like, she's capable of this much.
I've definitely gotten a little bit better as far as like using a lot of cover to move around, and then like using her boost to flank and around.
Yeah.
Your charge ability, charging them is one of the most powerful things you can do because you become
charge them?
Oh yeah, when you charge them, like when you boost.
Oh,
when
okay.
you boost, you actually ramble them, it does damage, and you can melee them at the same time. But don't really melee.
Yeah.
Charge, use your shotguns.
See, that's one thing I don't fucking do is melee. I need to learn. I need to fucking.
To be honest, you don't need to do that in this game. Diva does not ever have to reload.
Yeah.
And point blank, her fully automatic shotguns do a lot of damage. All right. So charge them, but hold down that damage like the whole time. When you're holding down that damage, the back of Diva's heels actually apply brakes. Most people don't know this. So, when you go to get booped on there, if you're shooting while you get booped, you only fall back a little bit. If you're not shooting, when you get booped, she'll get booped way back.
Yeah.
She actually has brakes on the back of it. When she's firing, she'll lock her feet down.
Yeah.
Like that. And then, she moves a little slower.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's...
So, are you saying to hold the... Are you talking about, like, if I'm using a keyboard, like, hold shift?
Yep. No. Hold your left click, your shoot button.
Oh, okay. Hold it down while that's it. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times I just...
Usually...
Since she literally has infinite ammo...
Usually you melee to cancel an animation like Roadhog's hook combo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
You can use the punch or melee to cancel certain animations.
Fucking Roadhog pisses me off.
Your boost... when you can dash, and you can cancel yours at pretty much any time.
Yeah.
Well, using her dash to melee, once you stop meleeing, you can, I think, recover your missiles even faster. Or you can stop your missiles from shooting.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. It's weird doing the dash thing just because, like, the geometry basically like penetrates through and stuff, and so I don't really get a good idea of what the fuck is going on because I'm like moving through characters and I'm assuming they're getting knocked out of the way.
Oh yeah, you have to be aware of your movement where you're at.
Yeah. But I definitely
flips pretty much.
It's nice having that where she boosts for like 2 seconds or whatever because it really allows me to like move in, and then like if I'm taking damage, I can quickly pull out way out of their line of sight.
Yeah, you need to dive in, get right in their face, become a meat shield, get to half health, move back out, recover, get right back in there.
The only thing I don't like about the super is it's a little inconsistent. Like they just like a lot of times I'll put it right next to an enemy, and like any kind of cover they take, they're good.
So
but sometimes Diva's
she has a tail that really telegraphs her old way in advance. So you need to get far away, launch it and boost it to where it comes into frame right as it's about to blow up.
Okay.
So that way, the time they see it,
jumping up in the air,
it's easy to hide behind the target.
Yeah.
It's harder to hide behind or tree walk behind cover when it's a moving target.
Yeah.
That's when it's like, oh, where's it going to go? They're trying to anticipate where it's going to land, where they're going to get to. But if you can get it up in the air, just slightly above most of the cover, but not real high, not really high.
That's where people are using the boost to jump in the air, right?
Yeah, that combined with a good timing, it's a lot of luck to it because you got shields. The shields, they can block that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, well, that's what I always try. These days now, I'm trying to get, like, now that I've learned that with the shields, I've tried to always use it behind, like, get behind Reinhardt, the enemy Reinhardt or whatever.
So, by the way, just so you know, Lavina has been practicing the hell out of Diva.
Yeah,
That's became her new favorite character, so you
That's
guys
fine.
are going to have to, like, fight over Diva.
Well, no, I mean, I've been interested in trying out Soldier 76, so.
Yeah, I told her try out all the characters and
Yeah,
try to get
see what
familiar
works.
with them all,
Yeah,
and you'll know their strengths and weaknesses.
Check out.
All right. Well, ladies and
gentlemen,
that's fine. That's fine. That comes with the territory. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are probably going to have to end it here because we got stuff to do. We got things, places to go, people to see, and stuff to, people to kill.
Most importantly, games to play.
Yes.
And remember, children, be nice and respectful to your machines because they'll be running our lives in the next 20 years. So.
Think about that tonight.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night, Dave.
Appreciate it. Yep.